actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
She's passionate about telling stories of amazing women who are rocking the world and empowering women to live, love, and thrive. Here's your host, Catherine Gray.
Hi, welcome to Live, Love, Thrive Women's Empowerment Hour. So happy to have you with us today. And we have some very special guests, as always. First up, we're going to be talking with the Pink Lady, who is AKA Jackie Goldberg. She has an amazing story and is doing amazing work in the world at 85 years old, no less. And then later in the show, we're going to be talking with the financial whisperer, Pegi Burdick. So stay tuned for that on how you can get your finances together at any age, which is great news, and I'm looking forward to having her on. First up, please give a warm welcome to the Pink Lady.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hi.
And I have to tell you, Catherine, when someone says, how young are you? You know, I always say, never use the word the old age. I always say I'm 85 years young. Hello.
Perfect.
So yes, I've got everybody trained for that. So how old are you? No, it's not how old, it's how young we are.
That's right, 85 years young.
Young.
I
there
love
you
it.
go. I do
love
too.
it.
Thank you.
So my first question is, because I know you're coined the Pink Lady, and we're going to talk about how that occurred.
Okay.
But so I'm just dying to know, are you in all pink every single day?
Yes, and let me tell you a cute
God,
story
your
about
whole wardrobe?
Everything.
I love the pink hair, by the way.
I know, thank you. I got to tell you a cute story. I also give myself to the children. My daughter is a teacher, my daughter Harumi, and I teach a pink grandma's drama class to her class. And a little boy raised his hand, Jeffrey, "Pink grandma, do you wear pink underwear?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And I thought his answer was cute. He said, "I'm going to tell my daddy." Okay, I'm single. It's okay. But I do wear pink all over.
No, I love it. The pink outfit, the pink hair, the pink nails.
Yeah, everything.
Do you ever get tired of pink?
No. I know. I have to be honest. To me, it is a uplifting, karma type color.
Yes.
That when people walk in my house, because it's pretty pink, and they walk in, they go, "Wait a minute now. We love this." I mean, it gives us energy. It's like uplifting, and it's not like bubblegum, bubblegum pink.
Yeah, no,
but
it's a happy pink.
It's a happy pink,
yeah.
And I think I get a lot of energy from that. I just do.
Well, we're going to talk about how you got that name, and also about your book called "Get Up, Get Out, and Get a Life."
And it ain't over till we say it's over.
That's right. That's right. And you know, it captures the very essence of who you are, that book. It's just full of positivity. Your energy just in person is so beautiful and amazing, and you just can't help but to be happy around you.
Well, thank you. My kids, I have 5 children, 6 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. And
Is that all?
That's all. That's all. And the kids, the grandchildren call me Pink Grandma. I mean, even in their 30s.
Yeah.
And then the little ones, the great-grandchildren, because their mothers and dad call me Pink Grandma, they say, "That's my pink gram."
That's so
but I love it.
adorable.
I do love it.
Hey, you know what? That's a really happy thing that you have going on here. You know, it'd be one thing to be Jackie Goldberg, who you actually are.
Right.
But the Pink Lady is just so fun and happy. And so we're going to talk about how you got that name.
Okay.
Because obviously there's a story.
There is a story.
You weren't born that way.
No, although I probably was up in the world that they
Somewhere
write
there.
things,
It was in the stars, right?
When I was a sales rep for women's wear in downtown Los Angeles, with
your husband.
With my late husband.
Right.
And I was walking down the hall, and one day I happened to be wearing pink, because I wore all colors 60 years ago. And someone yelled, "Hey, Pink Lady." And my late husband was a marketing genius, Walter, and he went, "Come here. You are now the Pink Lady." I went, "Okay." So from then on, we had a glass showroom, and on the showroom window it said, "Walter P. Goldberg and Associates, starring the Pink Lady." From that moment on, Catherine, it was like a whole new brand and a whole new world, and people loved it. They forgot Jackie Goldberg.
I love it.
Thank you.
And so you had fun with it. Your husband had fun with
yes.
it. He
Oh,
was.
yeah.
You mentioned in your book that he was your soulmate.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
And you were with him how long?
39 glorious years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that, I love that. Glorious years.
It was. And
Yeah.
and when he was not well, he said to me one day, and this is what made me reinvent myself when he passed away. He said, Pink, when something happens to me, and it will, I want you to live, because life belongs to the living.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what counts.
I love
So
that.
That was my mantra after that.
I love that. He sounds like a great guy.
He was.
Now, you got lucky enough that you had 2 husbands.
Yes.
Now, the first one, you married very young.
Very young, right out of high school.
And unfortunately, he passed away when you were just 25.
Correct. And I had 3 children by then.
Wow.
Well, we manufactured children.
Yeah. But, you know, later in life, you meet the love of your life. You're with him 40 years. You guys have a very successful business.
Yep.
But it didn't all start that way. So obviously, you had this first marriage. He passed away at 25. Well, you were in Massachusetts,
Yes,
right?
right.
And then you decided, and I love this positivity about you, okay, I'm going to change up my life and reinvent myself after this loss. And I think it's a wonderful message to tell people who are going through the loss, especially of a partner,
Yes.
that it's okay to get yourself back. I mean, obviously, you were super sad.
Well,
I mean,
of course.
my gosh, you lost your partner at 25. You have 3 kids.
And 3 kids, you got to support them and
But
so forth.
how you picked yourself up and moved across country and started a whole new, you told me, adventure.
Yes, to me it was an
Yeah.
adventure. And to me, I was blessed with a mother and dad who were young also. They were married at 16. Because in those days you did
Yeah,
get
they
married
did.
early.
My parents met at 15 and 17 and married a couple years
There
after
you go.
that. Yeah.
Well, when
My dad didn't tell her he was 15.
I love
That's
it.
how they got
That's
together.
cute. That's cute.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, when we came out here, it was an adventure. And I knew that I had to get up.
Yeah.
I had to get out there, and I had to take my life in hand
Yeah.
to be who I was.
Right.
And that's when I went out and got a job. I had never worked before.
Yeah.
So I got a job at the International House of Pancakes
Yep.
by bluffing my way in.
Yeah, I remember reading
right.
that story where they're like, "Do you know how to use the register?" You're like,
Oh,
"Oh,
sure.
sure."
You know, never
Not-
used a register in my life. And then
I would do the same
know.
thing. Oh, sure.
and then from
Who
there,
couldn't figure that out?
and then from there, I went to manicure school.
Yeah.
And then I became a manicurist.
Right.
And the first day that I went for a job, I gave the lady a manicure, and she looked at her hands, and she went, "This is the worst manicure I have ever had." And I started to cry.
And I remember it took an hour and a half
Hour
to
and a
do
half.
it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I
Not-
thought I was doing
not 15
fast. No.
minutes, an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. And then she looked at me, she says, "But you know what? It doesn't matter." She says, "I can teach you how to be a manicurist in 2 months, but I can't give you that zest for life and that energy and that positive way that you have, that you're going to be a delight to our customers."
Well, you know what? And this is like a famous manicurist shop in Beverly
Oh,
Hills.
yes.
It wasn't easy to
No,
get a job
Mary
there.
Ann Bowser's Beauty Salon. Never
Yeah.
forget it.
Right. So
She-
it wasn't like
no.
anybody could get a job
No.
there, but your personality got you
That's
in,
what
and
did
then
it.
she taught you how to
Oh,
do
yes.
this. And it changed your life. You met a lot of stars and
Everything.
celebrities.
It
and-
was fabulous.
Yeah.
And
But what I was going to say is so many people don't realize, no matter what job they're doing, yeah, it's great to have somebody competent working with you, but 99% of it is attitude.
It is.
Are they enjoyable to work with? Are they
Correct.
a pleasure to work with? And if they have both, wow, that's even a bigger plus. But, you know,
It is.
People don't realize the attitude they bring to
No.
whatever job they're doing is so important, not only to the people around them, because
Right.
you're responsible for the energy you allow into your space.
There you go.
Right?
and
But so not only around you,
Right.
but for your own self, you know. So
I
both.
think after my husband passed away, my attitude was, Pink, you have a whole life out there. You're only 72. You got a whole life to do something that you always wanted to do.
Right.
And what I always wanted to do was be in the entertainment field.
Right.
Shy and humble as I am.
Yeah,
So,
because in your so let's talk about your earlier youth. You were in growing up in Massachusetts,
Right.
And you were really into you know, plays and musicals, and it was kind of always something in
yeah.
your
I love being out
fiber.
before an audience.
Yeah.
Give me one person and I'm acting. It just is.
So you did that for all the family
Yes,
back there.
right.
So when you moved out to LA, it's no wonder that after all of these other careers that we're talking about,
Right.
you know, IHOP, and you were the hostess at the famous Delmonico's,
Right.
and then you were at this famous salon in Beverly Hills, and then eventually got into the clothing business
Right.
with your husband for many years, that in the long run, you've ended up being an actress and
And a
starting-
motivational speaker.
and a motivational speaker, and
And
starting this
producer.
fabulous show.
Oh, yes. I mean,
called Senior Star Power.
Right. And everyone in this show, Catherine, is a very young, 60, 70, 80. And in this one, we have a 90-year young woman, Clyda Mahoney, who was a Miss Senior California.
Yeah.
And her time, drop dead gorgeous, singing, dancing, moving. I mean, the whole cast.
Yeah.
And I am, truthfully, right now the only one that is doing senior theatrical theater in the whole West Coast.
Oh my gosh!
I know, it's exciting.
So, for those listening, okay, let's say they're over 60, they're a singer, a dancer, a comedian, whatever, juggler. You give them an opportunity to showcase their talents at the Senior Star Power, and
Correct.
thousands of people come out to
Yes.
to see it. And you've been doing this now for 10 years.
12, actually.
12 years.
12 years, yeah.
And how did you think of this? Like,
When I won a contest, 2005, Ms. Senior LA County, and I got an agent, and from that I got national commercials, and then I began to see.
Wait, I heard you were on a Super Bowl
I
commercial.
was
in 2015.
I was darling. I was moving and grooving there. I mean, everyone was going, "Wow, look at her!" I mean, they gave me a spot right up front. It was fabulous. It
And
really
that was for what?
Loctite 2015 commercial.
Yeah.
And I'm putting a little pin on with the glue, and I'm right there in your face. I mean, it was really wonderful.
Yeah,
And
I mean, Super Bowl commercials, that's as big as it gets.
it does.
Yeah.
I
mean, those things are millions of dollars.
It
Yeah.
was. And so I got an agent.
Yeah.
And then I began to see how the industry, shall we say, treated those that were over an age.
Right.
Unless you were a huge star.
Right.
So I decided to fund a senior theatrical musical review for seniors.
I love it.
And it's for everybody. We had a little
Now,
boy.
how many people came out to that first one to try out?
First one, I think there was like 50. This last
50's
one,
a lot.
182 young people came out.
Wow.
Yes, it
okay,
was good.
So they're all over 60.
All over
and,
60.
And 180 came out to audition.
Right.
How many do you select to be in the show?
This show was 15.
15.
15, which is a
Wow.
lot.
Yeah.
But I like a full stage because then it's like a Broadway production.
Right.
And it is with glamorous costumes and beading and jewelry. I mean, it is. I get so excited. I get carried away. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I'm giving them what it is. It's also, I took in seniors and veterans.
Right. I think
And
we have some pictures of the show, right? Yeah, we're showing some pictures
Right.
of the show.
And these are people who need to have a life.
Yeah.
And they tell me, you gave me a life, Pink Lady. You put me back out there, and now I have an agent, and now I picked up a manager.
Isn't
and
that
that's
great?
what's important to what I'm doing,
Wow.
Catherine, is giving people a whole new life at an age when a lot of people think it's over.
Right. Oh
And
my
I'm so
gosh.
proud of that, and I want to continue to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, I always say, it's not the breaths we take in life, but it's what you do with the breaths you take, and that's what's important.
And I've heard one similar. It's not how many breaths you take, but how many times you take your breath away.
I love it.
You love that?
I
I
love
love
it.
that
I
too.
take my breath away every morning.
I know.
I just do.
Yeah. Why not?
Someone asked me, what do you do the first thing in the morning? And I said, I get out of bed, I look out into my garden, and I say thank you. Thank you to the universe for giving me another day to help others find a life.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's what's important.
Yeah, I do the same, not the exact same, but I do say thank you every morning. And for every day that we do wake up and
Right.
everything important and, you know.
That's
thank you.
important. Everything should
Thank
work.
you.
You're right.
Yeah. So it's amazing what you're doing to help these people. Tell me some of the success stories. Like,
Well, we had a young lady from the Palm Springs Follies. For years, she was down there. She came to me at 70, said, I think it's over. And I said, no, it's not over. till you say it's over.
Yeah.
And she came into my shows. Now at 77 years young,
Yeah.
she just got a job on Crystal Cruises at 77.
Oh my gosh.
One of our veterans is now 75, lost his son, had a divorce, came back with all sorts of problems, drugs and everything. Now is in my shows, got an agent, is now belonged to SAG-AFTRA, and is out there working. See, that's what's gratifying to me. And this show, the next one, We Are America, a salute to our veterans, will show the diversification that we do in our shows and what the country is made up of. So I hope everyone will come out and see it.
I hope so too. Now this is going to be at 5 different theaters.
Yes, it
right?
is.
You started in 1 and now you're in 5.
Right. I'm partnering with the Los Angeles City Cultural Affairs Department, who did not have a community outreach to seniors and veterans, and I do. So they said, wait a minute, this is a match made in heaven, so we want to partner. And we'll be going to 5 different theaters. We start November, December at the Madrid Theater in the San Fernando Valley in Canoga Park with 8 performances in a 450-seat theater.
Oh my
And we
gosh.
want to fill it with everyone who loves what we're doing.
That is fantastic.
It is, it is.
And then what are the other theaters?
The other theater is the Barnsdall Theater, the Nate Holden Theater, the LATC Theater downtown, and the famous Warner Center Theater. And wait a minute, that's in June. And that time, just before we go on in June 15 and 16, we're going to be on the USS Battleship Iowa doing a half-hour show on June 16th before 800 people. I am so excited about that.
Well, so what's the secret to your energy and your zest for life? I mean,
You know what it is, Catherine? I love being who I am and being, I would say, a way from God to put me in a channel to help the world see life in a better perspective.
yeah, like that conduit.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
yes.
a big believer
there
in that.
you go. And to me, I am so proud of what I'm doing and the people I'm with. Like today, I'm with you, Catherine. To me, what you're doing is fabulous. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for letting me on your wonderful program. Because to me, people like you will keep all of us going and showing the world who we are.
I think more women need to be seen and heard.
Yes, yes.
And that's why I love doing what I'm doing, because every week I get to meet the most amazing women, and so do all the listeners.
I love it.
And there are so many women doing such incredible,
Yes, there
extraordinary
are.
work in the
The
world.
world is completely
You know,
changing.
I love when they hear about someone that they otherwise hadn't heard about, like
Correct.
yourself. You
Right.
know, I'm sure obviously a lot of people do know about you, but there's always new people to find. Maybe somebody's out there saying, "Wow, I'm
Wow.
over 60, and
Yeah,
I'm a great singer."
Yeah, I'm
going
to try out for her
Yeah.
next show. I mean,
Yeah.
because we'll be doing new auditions next July, August
Beautiful.
for the new show that we'll be doing called Star Spangled Legends of Broadway and Hollywood.
So just to be clear, I'm not quite 60, but when I am,
Yes.
I will not be trying out because I can't sing or dance.
But that's okay. If you're a comedian,
I just
we'll
want to
take
mention
you.
that.
Okay.
But I'm a great audience.
And I also tell people of an age that romance, as
Yeah.
it's in my book, I have a chapter in the book called Senior Sexuality.
Ah.
And it is never, ever too late
Right.
to find a partner, to have a partner.
Now, this is G-rated show.
Oh,
Pink
yes.
Lady.
Oh, yes. I get it. I get it. But my partner is fabulous and younger than I am, which is great. But my point
I
is...
just met him, right?
Yes.
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 Oh, he's darling.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But my point is that it's never too late
Yes.
to have fun
Yeah.
and to have a good time and
Now-
to live your life.
Not only do you have a positive energy, but obviously, like, you're in really great shape. And,
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you exercise?
You know what? I walk. I mean, I'm up at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
I go to bed maybe 1, 2.
Oh my
Oh yeah.
gosh.
I mean, I'm
Okay,
like
so it's not
an
like
energized
it's
buddy.
not true that people need to sleep between 10 and 6.
not
I
really.
think it really is.
Depends on the person.
I think so too.
I do too.
This one size fits all doesn't
No.
apply to anything. I think whether it's eating, exercise, lifestyle.
Hey, everybody has to do what they like.
Everybody
I
has-
eat ice cream. Literally, if you just gave me ice cream on a desert island, I am happy as can be.
You know,
That's
I
it.
had on Shirley Baskin not too long ago. Who's
Oh,
96.
yes, yes.
Her and her husband found it Baskin Robbins.
My cousin bought their house
Really?
in the valley.
Oh,
yes,
it's
and
too
the
small of a
shape of the
world.
pool is an ice cream cone.
Oh my God!
Yeah, there
really?
you go. Yeah,
I love that.
There you go.
But yeah, I love ice cream too, obviously.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite flavor?
Actually, it's vanilla.
I knew you were going to say
vanilla
that.
with
Yeah,
a little
that's
bit
most
of
people.
hot, with a little bit of hot fudge on top
Yeah,
of it. So.
yeah.
But
I'm a
that's
chocolate
mine.
chip girl
I
myself.
get it.
So, what would you tell young people about how to look forward to and prepare for their later years?
Okay,
not older years, later years.
I'll tell you in summarization a cute story. After one of my shows, my videographer asked this little boy, "Tell me something." He was about 12 or 13. How did you like the show? "Oh my God," he said, "I didn't think people were alive at that age." Now this is 12 and 13. But then we said to him, and how did you like it? "I thought it was better than Spider-Man." So what I'm saying is to mentor the younger people,
Yes.
even the 30 and 40-year-olds who come to my show, they go, "Wait a minute now. It's not over when I reach 60. Look what they're doing."
Yes.
That's the positive attitude
And you know
that
what?
I want people to see.
That's why I'm having you and
Yes.
several other women in their 80s and 90s
I love it.
at my conference
Yes.
November 4th.
Looking forward to that.
Called Live, Love, Thrive.
I'm wearing pink.
You are, I would have gathered. And you are on the Forever Young panel with some
Yes.
other women.
Thank you.
And all of you are still rocking it.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and it's because you inspire me,
Thank
and
you.
I want you to inspire all my audience.
Thank you.
Who
Thank
are women, young, old, a lot of them are midlife. And I want them to see, oh, gosh, look what I have to look forward to.
Correct. And
Yeah. I
well,
think life just keeps getting better.
it does. And
don't you?
when I do my seminars,
Yeah.
people will come over to me afterwards and they'll say, "Well, what keeps you going?" And I said, "Ourselves."
Yes.
If you can love if you get up in the morning and look in that mirror and you say, "Hey, you're not bad,"
Yeah.
go out and get them.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Right.
Literally.
Yes.
Is loving who you are, no matter what you look like, how you are, love you.
One interesting thing, and I know we're getting ready to wrap up,
Oh,
but I just wanted
okay.
to
I could go on all night. Sorry.
wanted to mention that when we were growing up, it's true that people used to think people in their 50s, 60s were old.
Oh,
I
yes.
mean, and in a way, some of them acted old.
They were.
And
They were.
and age is really in our mind and how we handle life. Like you said, what we create. Because I do know people in their 50s and 60s that act like they're 80
Thank
or
you.
90.
Thank you.
And then here, there's people in their 80s and 90s that they seem like they're
It
40.
was a whole different
So
world.
it is
whole
a
different
choice.
World. It is a choice that you
choice.
make. But today, I think that we are blessed with the fact that there are things out there that we can do,
Mm-hmm.
people that we can connect with that can make our lives even better.
Right. And we know about eating right, and we know about exercising. But one of the things I've read is that in research, the other part that's key is community. And I
Yes.
think a lot of people isolate themselves, maybe not by choice, but it is a choice.
Correct.
To get out,
Get up and get a life.
Right.
And I tell people, no matter what, remember that the over 60 crowd of people are still vital, productive, creative, energetic, and in our case, entertaining.
Yeah.
And we are. And when we feel that way and look that way, we are who we are.
Right.
And everybody loves that.
And, some people will be older and they'll think, well, I've lost my friends. I don't have a lot of community. But there is a community. Go out and find
You'll
new
find
friends.
it.
There's a community.
No one is going to
You
knock
have it.
on your door
Yes.
at this point.
Right.
You got to get up, get dressed, and get
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, and if they do knock on your door, they're not selling encyclopedias.
No.
Do
Come
not
on in.
answer.
You don't answer. Here, come on in, have a cup of coffee. Then you meet somebody. It's okay. It's okay. I love it.
Well, I have loved having you on.
Thank you.
And we're going to have Pegi Burdick up next, so stay tuned, and thank you for being on.
God bless you.
God bless you for
Thank
all
you.
you're doing. Mwah.
Thank you. Good.
Okay, we'll be right
Thank you.
back with Pegi Burdick.
God bless you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Live, Love, Thrive show, where we bring you powerful and positive programming about women and those who support women's empowerment. It seems by sharing their stories and showing us their talent and potential, they remind us of our own. We ask you to join us weekly by taking a minute to subscribe to our 360 Karma YouTube channel so you get to see every episode of these uplifting and inspiring stories. We all need more of this, yes? And did you know we have the Live, Love, Thrive book on our 360 Karma website and on Amazon? If you enjoy reading books of incredible women who are doing amazing work in the world, you will want to pick up a copy. Also, when you join 360karma.com, you will enjoy our growing video content of expert advice and support, and learn about our workshops and our second annual Women's Conference in West Hollywood, November 3rd and 4th of this year. If you would like to align with a like-minded, purpose-driven community, you will feel at home at 360karma.com. We encourage and support you to live the life you love.
RTB Financial Group empowers women to raise the bar and take control of their financial future. For more information, visit rtbfinancialgroup.com or call Amanda Barr at 424-284-4216. The Live, Love, Thrive program is brought to you in part by Honda of downtown Los Angeles, supporting the equality and empowerment of women.
We are back with Pegi Burdick. Hi, Pegi. Welcome.
Thank you.
The Financial Whisperer. I love that name. You actually shared with me that you were working with Cesar Milano, the dog whisperer, and that's how that came about.
Well, the truth be told, I had a name before that. I thought I'd call my business the Financial Gynecologist.
You shared that with me. I love it.
And a friend of mine.
Yeah, I think that wouldn't go over too well.
No, you know, today it might.
It'd be like the financial dentist. No one would come to you.
Oh, good point. Good point. No one loves the dentist except me. I happen to like my dentist.
Yeah. So the Financial Whisperer. I love that. So many people. I think, especially midlife, and I say midlife because that addresses you and I. I think they get to a point in their lives like, is it too late for me to build up my financial future? You know, and your answer is it's never too late, right?
Quite true.
I love that.
True.
And so we're going to talk about your journey to get to where you are so that you could help other people. So born in Brooklyn?
Yes, born in Brooklyn.
Yeah. And so how did you make your way here? You were married at a young age? Or?
No, I was married out of college.
Out of college. That's young.
Well, that's true. As we shared on the telephone, I've had 22 jobs in 4 businesses.
Oh, my gosh.
So one of the jobs, I had many jobs in New York, was we built a restaurant. I had a partner from college. And we sold the restaurant. We moved out here probably about 30 or 35 years ago. And I was in the food business.
Who's counting?
You know, it's scary. It's funny you should say that because the other day I was thinking about my first marriage, and I thought, God, it's like over 50 years ago. I'm like, 50 years? It's like a $50 bill, 50-cent piece. 50 is such an incredible mark.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It was probably us having that pre-interview call that you were thinking back about your first marriage because I was asking you about it. And, you know, I always say I like to know about people's background that's not in their bio so that, you know, you connect with our audience with, you know, who relates to that. So you got married then, and here you are. I remember you told me the story. You're in Paris when
good point.
Kind of had an epiphany that you don't want to be married, you know.
Well, I grew up in a household where no one was divorced.
Right.
No one. There wasn't even a word for alcoholic.
Yeah.
As my uncle was. But anyway, so we were in Paris, and we were very unhappy. And it was because the people we were with, she at one point said to me, you know, when we get back to the States, I'm getting divorced. I'm like, wow. If she can get divorced, I can get divorced.
Yeah.
And we got back to the States. I said to Robert, you know what? I'm done. He's like, yeah, me too. So it's very civilized.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So you felt then freedom.
Yeah, and freedom's a funny thing because freedom can be very overwhelming also. All of a sudden you have choices.
Right.
You have no more excuses.
And it's hard to be on your own when you've been in something for a long time with a partner. But it is interesting that culture that our parents grew up in, it was kind of like they stayed together no matter what. I know my parents were married 55 years, but you know, overall, if you ask them, they'd say, yeah, we really loved each other. We were happy. But, you know, 55 years, that's challenging, you know.
Yeah.
But the culture changed about the time you and I were, you know, growing up where it was okay to get divorced. So I guess you were grateful that, you know, the times were changing and the culture allowed for that. And then you were married a second time.
That's true. Now everyone's going to think I'm a serial, besides being a serial entrepreneur, I'm a serial marrier.
But you know, can you imagine how many people are listening that are saying, "Oh, that's me"? You know, you're not alone, so that's the good thing. You know,
that's true.
But I think the cool thing, Pegi, is how you pulled it together to get not only your own finances together, but at 58 years old, you decided after these 2 marriages that you were going to make it independently, and you wanted to help other women do the same. And that's really an awesome give back, because there are so many women, midlife, especially divorced, that are on their own. And I think, the advice your book, your coaching, and all these things can give them is invaluable. I think there's a lot of people looking for that, someone to throw them that rope.
People are looking for answers.
Yeah.
Right? And as we talked about on the telephone, the most important thing I always say to people is who has control. It's either going to be you or the thing that's bothering you.
Right.
Right? And the most important thing is you have to identify who has control, who needs control, and how do you get control. Because if you don't have control, then you make a lot of poor decisions.
Because you feel powerless.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. You get frustrated, you get angry, and it always comes down to the same thing. Who is in charge here?
And I guess this ties into this thing that you've come up with called a respectometer.
Yes.
Right?
True.
Which is very clever. And so then this would be about respecting yourself and respecting money in a way that empowers you.
Well, the respectometer came from, it's one thing to teach people, but the key, and I learned this from Weight Watchers, it's keeping them accountable.
I was just going to say, being successful with the money game is similar to dieting or, alcohol or anything. It's all taking power over those things instead of it having power over you.
Yep.
Which all comes with accountability, responsibility, and usually having someone that's helping you, that's a support system, that's accountable, which is why Weight Watchers works, and is why having a coach like yourself works for people. It gives them that accountability and someone to have some guidance and support from. And yeah, so tell me how that works. How do you work with clients, and what are some of your success stories?
Listen, do you have the photo of the respectometer? Can you put that up, maybe?
We have
Got
I
it,
think
okay.
he's got it up.
So
Yep.
there are 3 major tools that I use in my sessions. I use it in my book. It's first of all the big picture of getting to see how everything relates to each other, because your life is really, if you look at a wagon wheel, the hub is the core, it's your self-esteem. And all the spokes that come out from that core are the different parts of your lives. Your children, your body, your house, your husband, your money, your siblings, doesn't matter. They all somehow converge to your self-esteem. So that's a big picture. The second thing is to see, and maybe you can show the roadmap at the same time, I show people the progression. You have to first make a commitment, keep the commitment, which garnishes respect, where the respectometer comes in.
And when you say respect for yourself?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Really, because when people don't have, when they don't have control, you can always track it back to parts of their lives that they feel diminished in. So for me, I felt diminished. I grew up feeling stupid, which is a huge issue. The more times I say it to women, especially, they go, "Ooh, yeah, that was my life," of getting these messages. I'm the youngest, which makes a huge difference in a family. But so growing up stupid and then feeling
shame,
stupid.
and then you
a lot of shame.
Shame, yeah.
A lot of shame, and that is, Brene Brown has really put a face.
I love
to the
Brene
whole,
Brown.
I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
about being vulnerable.
Yeah,
and, yeah.
Because the real strength people have is in being vulnerable.
Right, and that was such a interesting epiphany I think a lot of people had when she did that TED Talk about that, about how being vulnerable is actually a strength. Yeah, because people think of it as a weakness.
Well, they spend so much time hiding.
Yes.
And as soon as they stop hiding and they put a name and a face to whatever the feeling is, which is really how I came to write the book, when they can identify it, then they can work on it. But as I say to people, it's not for the weak of heart. It's for sturdy people. It's for people who want the truth, because the truth is upsetting.
Yes.
Because when you first get it, it's very upsetting. But if you learn to manage it and learn to soften it like a scar, because you take control of it and you're accountable to yourself for it, well, then things start to shift.
And you make it sound like it would be a tough road, and I'm sure it is, to get those things in order. But the reward brings such joy and happiness, right? Because then they feel empowered and peace of mind, and so it's just getting through that rough part of being committed and being organized and making changes, right?
You can't be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the purpose here, I think, in life, is being able to give love, receive love. But if you don't feel entitled to be loved, what are you doing, right? You have to work towards it because we all want to be happy.
Right.
But there's happiness from here and there's happiness from here.
And so people might be confused, understanding that this ties to your finances and your abundance, and opening up to receive love, as well as opening up to receive money and opening up to receive all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Opening up to receive.
Exactly.
A lot of people are so closed off. They have these walls up that they're not allowing themselves to receive. And that is the key,
Yep.
isn't it?
It's so true
Yeah.
because
So what I love about the work you do is you're saying it's an inside job. We're all thinking it's an outside
right,
job.
right. Well put.
Yeah.
Well put. Yeah, it's not about the externals at all.
Right.
Which is how I came up with the title of the book. It's not really about the money.
Right.
Not about the money.
Right.
Even when it is, it's not about the money.
Right.
So when people
And so your book is, it's not about the money even when it is.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that title.
So when you asked me for some examples, this is one of my favorite stories. This is many, many years ago, because I've been doing this for about 10 years. So this is maybe like 8 years ago. I had this client whose husband was a longshoreman.
Mm-hmm.
They were separated, but meanwhile he had access to the house. He had keys, and she had 2 kids. One was about to go into the Navy, and she had no relationship with him. And her other child, who was a daughter, who was like maybe 24 at the time, was on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we traded services. She was my masseuse, and she'd come to the house. We would have a session, give him a massage, great. So she finished the program. I moved out of the area. I moved up to West LA. And my phone rings. This is about 2 years ago. My phone rings. I answer it, and she says, "Peggy." I'm like, "Yes." And she says, "This is so-and-so." I'm like, "So, how are you?" She says, I was cleaning out a drawer. I came across the journal you asked me to keep. And I realized that the lessons you taught me, I still do today. And I'm like, oh, great. She says, you can't imagine what happened to me. I'm like, okay. She says, remember the massage parlor? Yeah, I bought it. I'm like, really? Remember my daughter was on drugs? Yeah. Well, she's clean now, and she manages my business. I go, really?
Yeah.
My son talks to me every single week. He re-enlisted in the Navy, that's true, but now we have a relationship. I divorced the guy, longshoreman, what a bum, and now I have this really amazing life, an amazing new boyfriend, and it's all because of you. I mean, I almost started crying.
Wow.
Great story.
That is so
Great story.
amazing.
Yeah.
It makes you know that you're doing what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah, because then you see the results of it.
Yeah.
With so many of my clients, that's the point of it.
Mm-hmm.
We start, it's a 20-week session, we start here, we end up here, and those tools you can use the rest of your life.
Right.
Heck, I use it. I use the respectometer.
Right.
Right? If I set a goal, like I had to get back in shape, and I set my goal, my weight, and then I'd say to myself, are you eating an apple or an ice cream? Is it Ben and Jerry?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be Bristol Farms? What are you going to do here? I'm like, oh, God, I'll lose respect for myself about the ice cream, but the apple, I'm pretty happy. There you go.
Yep.
Chomp.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
But like Pink's lady said, once in a while you got to have that ice cream.
Oh, no, really. But
Once in a while.
but that is the real test.
Yeah, the balance.
Exactly. If it's coming from here or coming from here. Because when I eat the apple, then I feel good.
Right.
And everything about life should be about being happy, being balanced, and taking joy in the smallest things.
So when you call it the financial whisperer, you are helping people with their finances, but there's so many more components to it that all lead to that, right?
But that's exactly true.
Yeah.
Because if one thing is working smoothly for you and it's about control, then the other pieces are falling into place also. It's kind of like in my book, I have a sketch of the Redcoats. Okay. Now, when during the Revolutionary War, the British soldiers were taught to shoot in unison, right? So when one person advanced, they all advanced. One person advanced, right? So with my program, when you get control over this one thing over here, like setting boundaries, people say, what's the biggest issue for mothers and their children? I said, setting boundaries.
Right.
And you can start that tonight or tomorrow.
Yes.
As soon as you start acting and behaving and change so you do it in a proper way, as soon as you start taking boundaries, then it's much easier for you to do this thing over here. So it just dominoes all the way through. So the
Right.
money, again, is just the theater that people choose to express themselves in.
Right, right.
And it could be drinking, it could be lack of intimacy, it could be a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
But you fix one, and it kind of bleeds into everything else.
Like a domino effect.
Exactly.
And so, and your background, you did things in the financial world, such
Yeah, I was
as
a mortgage broker. That's
right,
true.
right.
That's true.
And so, did you learn a lot about what you know about finances and money from being a mortgage broker?
No.
Okay.
What I learned.
There's an honest answer.
Well, it's just, excuse me. What I learned is how women think. Now, I was in the clothing business before I became a mortgage broker. Excuse me. And I saw the way women would spend money on their clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a client.
Oh,
one
I
day.
know a few of those.
Yeah. I had a client one day, and we did trunk shows all over the country. And one day, I was doing the orders. I would come in the morning, and we'd see what came in overnight. And I called this woman, and she was in Charleston, South Carolina. And I said, Mrs. Greenblatt. She said, hello, sugar, how are you? I said, I'm fine. I said, I just want to go over something. I'm reading your order. So you're getting yet a 6th black jacket. She said, yeah, that's what I want. I said, now, remember, you bought a black jacket here, 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 and you're sure you want a 6th one. It's not a mistake. You don't want navy. You don't want chocolate brown. Mrs. Kim, I was a great salesperson, right? So I talked them out of it. She said, no, sugar, that's what I want. I said, just want to clarify it. Now, why does someone, and she says, and put it on 2 different charge slips with my husband over here, my other card over here. He doesn't see anything. I'm like, wow.
I've heard that a lot,
Right?
that
So-
women don't want their husbands
Exactly.
to know. Yeah.
So I got that insight. But when I was a mortgage broker, I focused at a company called Home Loans for Women. I focused, obviously, on women. We did bankruptcy buyouts. So inevitably, I'd say, Barbara, how did you end up in bankruptcy, or how did you end up, losing everything? And she would
Right.
tell me.
Yeah.
So that was my education, to learn and get more traction about what goes on with women besides me
Right.
and a couple of my friends. I got to see a whole rainbow of things that went on. So as my life was as a turning point 58 years ago, getting divorced, moving, my dog dying.
22 jobs.
Yeah, right. I had to make some serious changes. It was my kind of call to arms. You either start changing,
Right.
or you're going to end up on the street, go look for a cardboard box.
Right, right.
So it was that wake-up call.
And I think that's every midlife women's fear,
It is.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if they're on their own.
Yep.
Yeah.
So true. And it doesn't have to be that way.
So it was your personal experience of having to overcome
Yes.
the financial game that said to yourself, okay, I've done this, now I want to help others do it.
Well, not exactly, but kind of, sort of. But so this is a sweet story. I grew up. My grandmother, I was very close to, she'd say to me, "You know what? You should be a teacher." I was like, "Nana, I don't want to teach." And she says, "No. Teaching's good for you. It's stable. It's respectful." Well, it's back then.
Yeah.
And
Still is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll do very well. It's very secure. I'm like, Nana. So I go off to the film school. I went to NYU. And she comes for a visit, and she says, "So, what are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I just got into the film school at NYU." She goes, "What? What is film?"
Yeah.
I said, "Film, like movies, like Charlie Chaplin." She goes, "You know Charlie Chaplin?" I said, "No, Nana." It's kind of, with the films, and you could see the glaze. It's like,
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do. She says, "Are you going to teach?" I said, No, I'm not teaching. I'm learning filmmaking. What happened to teaching? I said, Nana, you wanted me, right, back and forth.
Yeah.
I built a restaurant in New York on 39th Street and 5th Avenue, and she happened to be visiting. She was living in Florida. She happened to visit. So my mother brings her one. My mother says, I'm bringing Nana. I said, okay. They come in for lunchtime. My Nana is very short. She walks in. She goes, Peggy, pretty fancy, huh? Pretty fancy. I was like, Nana. She says, what happened to teaching? So the point of the story
You
is that-
finally are teaching.
Exactly.
Nana
See?
was right.
Nana was right.
Yeah, there's so many forms of teaching, aren't there?
It's absolutely true. But the magic is that when you see it in someone's eyes,
Yeah.
that they get it.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. It's never about anything else other than that moment of recognition that they understand 100% of what this thing is about.
Does everyone get it?
Everyone gets it. Here's the thing. In order to be successful, not just with my program, but any program, it has to make sense. It has to make sense emotionally. And then that people get it, it takes time. Because if this program is at 20 weeks, so probably about the 6th week, it starts to gel, because then they've got their homework assignments, they've got their, they're accountable to me.
So pretty much after 20 weeks, they have a good financial plan in place, or?
No, because it's not, actually, we never talk about money.
Right, okay.
Because it's not about the money.
Okay.
But what happens is that here they are setting boundaries. They're trying to.
But what happens with what you do teach them results in having
that's it.
the financial freedom
That's
or
it.
security.
That's it. Well, they start to pay attention.
Right.
They pay attention to if their son is asking for $150 sneakers and they haven't paid the light bill. It's
Right.
like, how am I going to do this?
Right.
It's the awareness.
Right.
It's the wanting.
Is it the common sense factor?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody wants to ignore that. Because everybody thinks live for today, there might not be a tomorrow. That's a problem in our culture, I think. The other problem, I believe, is that there's all these programs out there that are going to make everybody rich. You know, that's the plan, that people go in droves to these conferences and to these pitch fests that is about, we can make you a millionaire. Bottom line is, less than 1% of the country is a millionaire. Most of these people will never be millionaires. And so we have to relook at our culture and our lives and say, what is abundance? Is it abundance of love and friends and joy and, or is it just about money? And so I think abundance comes in many ways, shapes, and forms. That's the way I feel about it. Not everybody's going to be a millionaire, and that's okay. People can just be, like you're teaching them to be, financially secure and free to be happy in everything that they're doing, but not being tied to, I've got to be a millionaire.
You see, I don't relate to that.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that really is. I mean, I know people obviously that have made it on their own. They've made, like my brother is a very, very successful architect in New York, and I can't relate to that mindset. Because
but it's very prevalent in our country, don't you think?
Well,
especially with young people, they have that. What is it? Where they feel that they deserve that, like
the
entitlements.
Like,
the entitlements. Like everybody should have that.
Well, yeah, but if you...
But you don't need that to be happy, was my point.
Exactly.
That's
exactly
the
true.
point. Yeah.
Exactly true. There's some things that you need to have to feel secure and stable, right? So if you can get to that piece of it,
yes,
great. I had a chat with someone this morning, and he was saying to me, oh, I have to make 50 calls today. And I looked at him and I said, when was the last time you made 50 calls in one day? And he's like, well, I've never done 50 calls in one day. So, yeah. So here's something that's really much more productive for you. Make it 10 calls. And if you can make 10 calls today and for the next 5 days, then it'll make you feel good, because you have to have sustainable goals. That's the key.
Right.
If you put the goals too far out, people always feel they're failing. So they go home at the end of the day and they don't feel good. Quite the opposite. They feel like they failed. So if we shift the paradigm, give something manageable that's sustainable, and then move next week from 10 calls, move to 13 calls.
Right.
Keep moving it up. Right.
Do you recommend a daily list? Because I keep a daily list. I love checking it off.
It's very gratifying.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't get anything done if I didn't have a list. Everybody's different, but that's me. I wouldn't know what I was supposed to do. I'd get up and go, what am I doing today? Oh, let's go have coffee.
I was supposed to be somewhere? Okay. No, I keep my calendar pretty clear.
Yeah.
But when I have... when I have a lot of errands and things to do, like on the weekends, then I have to make a list, because then I have to strategically figure out where I'm going to drive most efficiently at this hour, whatever. I mean, I can get like 11 things done on a Saturday. I'm very proud of that. That's a good track record.
11 things. I am not asking what those are. Well, I have just loved having you on, and I love that you have a program that works for so many people. A lot of people out there are looking for something to tap into, why or how they can't get their finances or their life together. Your website is?
TheFinancialWhisperer.com.
I love that. TheFinancialWhisperer.com. And your book?
My book is It's Never About the Money, Even When It Is. It's available on Amazon.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on. I think your book and your program could help a lot of people. So thanks for what you're doing and giving back.
It's my pleasure, honey. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I look forward to having you at the Live, Love, Thrive conference on the financial panel, where people can meet you in person.
That's true.
And we'll see them there on Saturday, November 4th. It's coming up.
There you go.
All right. We will see you in a couple weeks at the Live, Love, Thrive conference. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make it a great day. Hugs and happiness.